This issue 4 of Once and Future is like, or this book with the amazing Dan Mora art and the amazing colours as well. I must check who's doing the colours. This book is kind of like dating a beautiful woman. Like, even though the beautiful woman is doing things that annoy you, she's so good to look at that you're kind of willing to just let it slide. And there's a few kind of moments in issue 4 that are like that. It's just kind of like, oh, kind of goofy, going back to that goofiness I mentioned in issue 1. Like, but essentially, in this scene here, like, you've got, I know in the UK, when not all, like in the US, you know, the police, everyone has guns, like, but in the UK not all police have guns. But if a copper has guns, normally they have these kind of submachine guns, or, you know, automatic rifles, kind of. If you see those dudes in the airport, or, you know, at kind of sensitive locations, they're pretty, probably elite coppers, fairly well trained and stuff like that. And you can actually see, I know with this comics, Global Comics app, because I'm just looking at this on my laptop, I can't zoom in, but essentially these two cops here have those guns, and they're coming up to this girl who was kind of roped into the mission. She's like the tether back to the human world, and or the regular world, whatever you want to call it. So the death of these two cops is it's kind of stupid, but it's also this guy Duncan, I remembered his name, he's responsible for it, like, because the granny is about to kill this Galahad character with the sniper rifle, which I think is ridiculous. I just don't think a granny could, I mentioned that in my last video, I don't think a 70 or 8 year old granny could fire like a high powered rifle like that and even get it on target. She'd probably break her shoulder or something. But so she's got him on target, she's gonna take him out, and Duncan knocks her hand away. So they didn't kill Galahad, and now they have all of Arthur and his knights on them, chasing them. So they run back excuse me, and come into the regular world. And like, this is the part that kind of bugged me, because when they come through, here's the two cops with their guns, right, and they're basically saying, like, you know, you have weapons, whatever, hands in the air. And then one of the knights comes through, because the candle is still lit, the girl still has the candle, which is like the tether between the two worlds. So this knight comes through and he slices the first copper's head off, right? Fair enough, he might have got the drop on that guy. But as you see here, like, Duncan is already reacting, right, to the first head chop, and this copper is just standing there, like, literally doing nothing, and then he gets gutted by the knight. And like, to me, that's just a bit silly, like, you know, at least let the cop get off a few shots, because from the last, I think from issue 2, you could see when Duncan was firing the submachine gun, wasn't really having an effect on killing these knights, like. But at least let him do that, like, you know. It's just those little kind of niggling things, like. And like, it's, the knight is not moving that fast, because you see here in this kind of series of images that the girl has time to put out the candle before the knight even gets close to her. And once she extinguishes it, you know, the knight has been kind of pushed back to his realm or whatever. But that was kind of one of the goofy things. And I think the main point of this story is, sometimes in comics or in worlds, they start out quite grand, and, like, you know, but then slowly a lot of the characters seem related to each other, and it's like the world gets smaller and smaller. It's like they do it in Star Wars now, where they're bumping into different characters across an entire galaxy. Like, you know, they'll go to a planet, it's like, oh, here's this guy, you know, and that guy, and it just makes the world smaller. So it turns out this Fisher King that they're looking for is married to the granny, which is the grandfather of Duncan. And like, the whole point of what this granddad is up to, he says it here, he says, my own wife shot me when I told her about my idea of how to bring back the world we'd lost. What's a family of monster hunters to do in a world without monsters? So, like, you mean to tell me, right, they got rid of all the monsters, and this shrivel up owl lad was a bit bored, so he's like, let's just bring all the monsters back. Like, is this the whole point of this story? It's like, just because I'm in my 80s and I'm bored, I'm gonna bring back a massive risk to to the earthly realm. I don't know. I could be picking this up wrong, but this is the way I picked it up. And then he ends up blowing his own head off to stop the good guys essentially from preventing this from going to pass. Now you find out that Duncan has been set up as a kind of one of these actors in this Arthurian story, like as in like he's a useful what's the word? He's almost like it's like all these characters are avatars. They've been set up in roles from the book back in the Arthurian legends. So like the old man was the Fisher King, who was something to do with the guardian of the Grail. And then Percival, though, is someone who could get the Grail, or Galahad is someone who could get the Grail. See, this I had to do a little bit of reading, not a lot, like, but essentially, the art's amazing. Still, is incredible. Like, look at the expression in this old man's face. Like, it's just phenomenal art. Like, the art is so good. Like, but I'm gonna try and keep these videos short. There's a bit of interest. So I actually had a comment on one video, which is cool. Like, but so there are some fans of this out here, but it's keeping me there. I think if Dan Mora stops on drawing this book, I don't know how much longer I last. Like, but so far, beautiful art, and I leave it at that.